structural flaws in India and asserted that we can thrive only when all religions, all languages and all regions are allowed to live in harmony. But of course, that's not happening, because it is this space for diversity in a multicultural India which is under wholesale attack thanks to the BJP, the RSS and the Prime Minister Modi.
The single biggest risk is the attack on democracy that is taking place in India. Because India has multiple religions, multiple traditions, multiple languages, and India actually is a conversation between all its people. And different traditions, different religions, different ideas require space.
This isn't the nature of the BJP and the RSS. If you noticed a statement of the foreign minister, he said China is much more powerful than us. He said China is much more powerful than us. How can I pick a fight with them? Matlab, at the heart of the ideology is cowardice.
India is decentralized and has multiple languages, multiple cultures, multiple traditions, multiple religions. So India is a much more complex system, and India's strengths, which exist, are not necessarily China's strengths. They're different. So they're big systems, but they're different and they operate differently. India also has a very old tradition, spiritual tradition, and a thought system. Very profound and old ideas that are very useful in today's world.
It's quite interesting, though, that this came on a day when RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat, in his annual Vijayadashmi address, actually referred to the uprising that has taken place in our neighborhood in Bangladesh, Nepal, and said that there are forces who want to create such disturbances in India as well, and such forces are active both inside and outside the country, adding that violent outbursts cannot bring change.
अब कभी-कभी हो जाता है, प्रशासन जनता के पास नहीं रहता, संवेदनशील नहीं रहता, लोकाभिमुख नहीं रहता, उनकी जनता की अवस्थाओं को ध्यान में रखकर नीतियां नहीं बनती, तो असंतोष रहता है। परंतु उस असंतोष को इस प्रकार व्यक्त होना, ये किसी के लाभ की बात नहीं है। प्रजातांत्रिक मार्गों से भी परिवर्तन आता है, ऐसे हिंसक मार्गों से परिवर्तन नहीं आता है। एक उथल पुथल हो जाती है, लेकिन स्थिति यथावत रहती है। पूरे दुनिया का अभी तक का इतिहास देख लीजिए, जब से ये उथल पुथल वाली तथाकथित रिवॉल्यूशंस, क्रांतियां आई, किसी क्रांति ने अपने उद्दिष्ट को प्राप्त नहीं किया।
One wonders whether that allusion was towards any leaders of the opposition. Even before Rahul Gandhi had landed in Colombia, remember, the BJP had declared that his purpose of going abroad was to collaborate with anti-India forces. The latest comments have only given more strength to those claims. They have given the BJP fresh ammunition, who is now saying that the Congress MP is being remote controlled by foreign powers and should be called leader of propaganda instead of leader of opposition.
आपको देश के खिलाफ कुछ भी बोलने का अधिकार है। मोदी जी के ऊपर तो आप झूठे आरोपों की झड़ी लगाते हैं, पूरे हिंदुस्तान में घूम घूम करके। तो लोकतंत्र में तो आपको एक प्रकार से गाली देने का अधिकार दे रखा है हिंदुस्तान में, और आप कह रहे हैं लोकतंत्र नहीं है। आप
What wrongs have been committed by Rahul Gandhi, you need to have some sorts of introspection. What is white, he is telling white. What is black, he is telling the black. Because he is the disciple of Mahatma Gandhi's great ideology
प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के अंडर में जब राहुल गांधी और उनका पूरा गांधी वाड्रा परिवार ये देखता है कि हिंदुस्तान एक $4 ट्रिलियन की इकॉनमी बन चुका है, 4th लार्जेस्ट इकॉनमी बन चुका है, 3rd लार्जेस्ट इकॉनमी बनने वाला है और वर्ल्ड में एक लीडर के रूप में स्थापित हुआ है, तो अपनी घृणा और जलन की वजह से राहुल गांधी हिंदुस्तान को के लोकतंत्र को और हिंदुस्तान के प्रोग्रेस के ऊपर हमला कर रहे हैं। इससे यही स्पष्ट होता है कि राहुल गांधी का जो रिमोट कंट्रोल है वो विदेशी ताकतों और विदेशी हाथों में है।
राहुल गांधी जो कुछ बोल रहे हैं वो देश के लिए सच है। राहुल गांधी कोई गलत बात नहीं कह रहे। और अगर प्रधानमंत्री जाके बोल सकते हैं चाइना के अंदर कि मुझसे पहले भारतीय कहते हुए शर्म आती थी, तो क्या उन्हें हक है कि वो राहुल गांधी पे कोई सवाल उठाएं?
And that brings us to the big questions tonight on which the buck stops here. Is Rahul Gandhi sounding a real alarm on India's democratic backsliding or drumming up paranoia to stay politically relevant? Let's take this straight across to the guests. Joining us now, Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, Ghanshyam Tiwari, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, and Saral Patel, national spokesperson of the Congress. I want to actually start with you, Sanju Verma. Why is it that every time Rahul Gandhi speaks, you say that he is anti-national, and more importantly, that he is remote controlled by foreign powers? You may dispute his facts, but what is the evidence that he is being remote controlled by these foreign hands?
Padmaja, with no offense to none, you don't need to have an IQ of more than 40 to realize that Rahul Gandhi is anti-national. And this is not rhetoric. I will corroborate that with facts. 2 years back, Rahul Gandhi went to Cambridge, and what did he say? I'm surprised why the European Union and USA are not intervening when a large chunk of democracy is coming undone in India. He went to Virginia last year. What did he say in Virginia? He said Sikhs in India are not allowed to wear a kada, not allowed to sport a turban, and not allowed to visit gurdwaras. And within 48 hours of Rahul Gandhi's statement, Gurpatwant Singh Pannun said, राहुल गांधी ने सही किया है, सही कहा है, इसलिए तो हम खालिस्तान की डिमांड कर रहे हैं. Who gave a जादू की झप्पी to Ilhan Omar? It was Rahul Gandhi last year. The same Ilhan Omar who says that Kashmir is not an integral part of India. She never uses the word POK, Pakistan occupied Kashmir. She always uses the term Indian administered Kashmir. And Rahul Gandhi को और कोई नहीं मिला पूरे ब्रह्मांड में इल्हान ओमर को जाकर झप्पी देनी थी. Then if you remember 3 years back, Rahul Gandhi went to Malaysia. What did he say? He said, you know something? My phone, the phones of my friends who are also members of parliament, we all have the Pegasus spyware on our phones because the Modi government is scared of us. Arey, if the Modi government is scared of you, chalo maan liya. When the Supreme Court asked Rahul Gandhi, please deposit your phone, let's have a look at it. Why did you run away? Rahul Gandhi's DNA, the core of it is based on shoot and scoot politics. And Padmaja, before I end, let me remind your audience, barely, just 10 seconds. Barely a few weeks back, forget what Prime Minister Modi is saying, what Sanju Verma comes and tells Padmaja on a widely watched show. Supreme Court told Rahul Gandhi, how do you go abroad and make a statement that China encroached upon and acquired 2,000 square kilometers of Indian territory? Do you have any credible proof? Rahul Gandhi ke muh mein dahi jam gaya. And the Supreme Court said, your actions do not speak of somebody who is a true national. And Priyanka Vadra said, मेरे भाई को nationalism का certificate देने वाला Supreme Court कौन होता है? मतलब आप कुछ भी बोलोगे and Supreme Court गलत है, Election Commission गलत है, Enforcement Directorate गलत है, CBI गलत है. सारे ब्रह्मांड में राजा हरिश्चंद्र की चौथी औलाद सिर्फ राहुल गांधी है.
Saral Patel, respond. Your 2 minutes starts now. Sanju Verma and the BJP connecting the dots to allege this is not an experiment. This is a very real project to denigrate India from foreign soil. Saral Patel.
Padmaja, good evening to you and to your viewers, and happy Dussehra to you and your viewers. And I will do what every sane Indian must do, ignore what Sanju Verma has said. So let me begin by making my point that today is Dussehra, and Dussehra reminds of one eternal truth, the victory of good over evil. No matter how high and mighty Ravan was, in the end he was defeated by Lord Ram. Ravan, who was blinded by arrogance, centralized all his power in his own hands, silenced even his brother's counsel, and what was the end result? His arrogance collapsed.
And no interruption, please. He didn't interrupt you. Everyone should make their opening comments in silence. I'll come for the rebuttal.
His arrogance
opening
collapsed,
comment. Go on.
And so did his empire. And what we are seeing today is the same story. The concentration of power in one man, one office. Today, there is only one rule. Whatever Mr. Modi does is final, and whatever Mr. Modi says is a masterstroke. Agencies are weaponized. Parliament is bulldozed. Independent institutions have been bent to serve one person's will. Rahul Gandhi exposed vote chori, mass deletions. Instead of investigation, Chief Election Commissioner started behaving like a Panna Pramukh of Bharatiya Janata Party.
Okay.
Is that not a threat to democracy? I am not done. My 2 minutes are not done. 143 MPs were expelled in one stroke to bulldoze bills in the parliament. Is that not a threat to democracy? From ignoring farmers' plight for 13 months to weaponizing agencies, these are the systematic assaults on the democracy itself. And now BJP says that Rahul Gandhi has insulted India in Colombia. Let us be very clear. Rahul Gandhi has done what every patriot Indian must do. He asked questions. He asked the right questions. Did he ever call Indians lazy? Did he ever call Indians a sleeping elephant? No, he did not. These are the things that Prime Minister Modi himself said. And he went to China. Mr. Modi went to China and said, it is like a sin to be born in India.
All right, your time is up. Your time is up.
Ashamed of himself.
Okay, opening comments, Dr. Anand Ranganathan. Rahul Gandhi is not a foreign agent. He is speaking truth to power. He, in fact, is slaying evil on this day of Vijayadashmi.
Good evening, Padmaja, and good evening to my fellow panelists. Wishing everyone a very happy Dashera and Lal Bahadur Shastri Jayanti. I disagree with my good friend Sanju ji. I don't think Rahul Gandhi is anti-national. He loves his nation, China. No, let's be very clear. After all, it was the Foreign Secretary Sham Saran who disclosed that under the UPA, 600 square kilometers of eastern Ladakh was given away to China. There were more than 300 incursions by China into India, including one 23 kilometers deep into Depsang, that the government did not even disclose for a month. And let's not go to the MOU that was signed, the details of which have never been disclosed. So let's not go down that road, who is national or anti-national. I want to make, because I think time is of essence out here, my good friend Patel ji, the Congress spokesperson, because Rahul Gandhi spoke about things that he's been speaking about for the last 2 years. I may have time to come to that, but he also spoke about how corruption has become endemic in this country under Modi. And Saral Patelji would agree to what Rahul Gandhi said. But Rahul Gandhi also said that he is going to fight it tooth and nail. So I asked him 3 very simple questions through you. And I know Patelji, and he's very erudite, he will answer them directly. Number 1. When Rahul Gandhi mentioned that anonymous electoral bonds were independent India's greatest scam, I agree with him. But I want to ask him, why is it that then the Congress took 1,600 crores through the same anonymous electoral bonds, the money that they haven't yet returned? Number 2, Rahul Gandhi accused BJP of escaping conviction by amending the FCRA Act and thus rendering the High Court conviction toothless. Fine, I agree BJP is corrupt. But then why did Rahul Gandhi and the Congress agree with the BJP and help the BJP to amend the FCRA Act?
10 seconds.
Going back to the emergency.
Can I please come in?
Why did Rahul Gandhi do it? And number 3, Sanju, please don't interrupt. Number 3, the fact that Rahul Gandhi says that Adani is corrupt, all the wealth is encapsulated by him. I want to ask him, yes, let's say Adani is corrupt. Why is it that the erstwhile Congress states of Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan invested to the tune of 1 lakh crore to the same Adani?
Okay.
These are the 3 questions, and I hope Mr. Patel would answer them.
All right. All of these questions I will just put in abeyance for 2 minutes more because Ghanshyam Tiwari needs to make his opening comments. Ghanshyam Tiwari, I need to point out to our viewers quite a excruciating irony that all of these comments about democracy being dead were actually made by the leader of opposition in Colombia, which has just in August this year jailed its leader of opposition on charges of witness tampering. The LOP in Colombia has throughout said that he's being subjected to a witch hunt, that he's completely innocent. He is now in house arrest. But there we have our LOP talking about democracy being in danger. Your 2 minutes start now.
Good evening, Patanjali, to you, the viewers, and the fellow co-panelists. We have our Prime Minister standing next to Putin, Netanyahu, and Xi Jinping, talking about how great a democracy he has built. So clearly, Rahul Gandhi can take inspiration. Now, I must congratulate that on your channel, on the day, we all wish Vijayadashmi to everybody, everyone who's watching, and that our collective efforts will bring peace and prosperity to our great nation. My good friend Anand Ranganathan agreed on point number 2 and point number 3 that BJP is corrupt and the Adani issue. So that is a victory of some kind. Now, coming to the larger issue, at a time when Election Commission was in dock in the Supreme Court, finally forced to amend the documents that is necessary for people to vote, being called for vote chori. The largest economy within India, Maharashtra, where Sanju Verma is probably there, the Chief Minister is unable to prove where did the 21,000 extra voters come that voted in a constituency that he's won so many times. There, every day you pick up the newspaper and you will see how democracy is being bulldozed by this government. And on a day when we are all remembering father of the nation, the organization who was directly accused by none other than Sardar Patel of being implicit in his assassination, the plot to assassinate him. He wrote to Shyama Prasad Mukherjee about it. On that day, Prime Minister chose to amplify the power of Mohan Bhagwat, shows where this nation stands.
Okay.
So no matter where we are, whether we are in India, where we are outside, we know that the entire nation will listen when we talk about the nature of democracy in India that is subjugated by this government, the nature of corruption that a bunch of crony capitalists have indulged in under the watch of this government, and the nature of saying that India is great at a time when Donald Trump is every day reminding us that he brokered the ceasefire, at a time when thousands and thousands of our children, our students are threatened in the United States with the visa status.
Okay, your time is up, but I want to also point out that a lot of things that your alliance says in India are actually belied by Mr. Gandhi when he is speaking in Colombia. You say that the Indian economy is dead. When you echo Donald Trump, today Mr. Gandhi said that the Indian economy is growing. So we actually need to make up our mind on that. All right, now the debate is open. Sanju Verma, respond to what Saral Patel and Ghanshyam Tiwari have said. Multiple examples given of how our democracy is in the pits right now.
Okay. Padmaja, I would like to start with a couple of lines. बास की असली उड़ान अभी बाकी है, इरादों का इम्तिहान अभी बाकी है, अरे अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन हमने, अरे अभी तो नापी है मुट्ठी भर जमीन हमने, अभी तो पूरा आसमान बाकी है, अभी तो नरेंद्र मोदी के सिर्फ 11 साल हुए हैं, अभी तो आपको आगे चल के बहुत कुछ सहना है, पिक्चर अभी बाकी है मेरे दोस्तों. एंड
अभी तो ऑपरेशन सिंदूर हुआ है, बाकी का पाकिस्तान भी बाकी है.
चीन भी बाकी है, यूएसए भी बाकी है, इस तरह की फिजूल की शायरी भी बाकी है.
And it is funny how Sanju Verma says सहना बाकी है, 11 साल से जनता सह रही है और सहना बाकी है.
I will not debate like this because you did not allow me to interject these guys.
Because they were opening comments. Now the debate is open. You are saying that democracy is still safe. They are coming in with their counters. Sanju Verma. Yes.
Yeah. So let me make one point very clearly. First and foremost, Mr. Ranganathan, I always say he gives solid points. But I always say that Mr. Ranganathan is also in many ways a monkey balancer who sometimes does not have a sense of proportion. कांग्रेस को भी करप्ट बोलना है तो चलो बीजेपी को भी करप्ट बोल दो. Mr. Ranganathan may have his reasons, but I will focus on Ghanshyam and Saral Patel. Anyone who's sane will not agree with Sanju Verma. अरे मैं तो नई आई हूँ राजनीति में, तो I have a long way to go. But let's get to the meat of the debate. And Rahul Gandhi made a very interesting point, Padmaja. He said India can never be a leader in anything. So I would like to tell Rahul Gandhi, and I'm sure Ghanshyam will agree because he understands economics better than a lot of other opposition wannabes. India today is the world's 4th largest economy. We are the world's 5th largest stock market. We are the world's 2nd largest steel producer. We are the world's 2nd largest smartphone market. We are the world's 3rd largest automobile manufacturer. We are the world's largest manufacturer of tractors. We are the world's 2nd largest motorcycle manufacturer. We are the world's 4th largest country with forex reserves. We have the world's 7th largest gold reserves. But wait. In Operation Sindoor, we used indigenously made supersonic missile called BrahMos. In Operation Sindoor, we used indigenously made kamikaze sky striker drones. In Operation Sindoor, we used indigenous surface-to-air missile called Akash. In Operation Sindoor, we used indigenously manufactured Pinaka multi-barrel
But what's that
rocket
got to do with the
launcher.
nature of democracy, Sanju Verma? It's said again and again, during the emergency, trains were running on time, but it was still a case of democracy being in shackles. They are saying today there is no freedom. No freedom of speech, no freedom of expression, no freedom for the opposition.
Padmaja, can I come in?
Opposition comes and abuses the Prime Minister on your show and every other primetime show 24/7 और इनको कितनी freedom चाहिए, madam?
बताइए कितनी freedom चाहिए, Saral Patel. And not just on my show, I want to point out in Colombia as well, Saral Patel. You've got the ultimate freedom of speech and yet you have a problem.
मोदी जी को रोज गालियां देते हैं ये लोग.
when
free
this
speech की गुंजाइश
I did not interrupt you, so let's be patient. मोदी जी की तरह थोड़ा आप में भी पेशेंस कम है अपने प्रतिद्वंदियों को सुनने का. So थोड़ा सुन लीजिए. So it is funny how Sanju Verma ji said that अभी सहना बहुत बाकी है. So I agree with her that जनता सह रही है 11 साल से. 4 साल 3 साल और सहना बाकी है. 2029 में जनता करारा जवाब देने वाली है आपको. Now quickly to make, I did not interrupt you, Sanju Verma ji. Be patient. So थोड़ा सुनने का धैर्य रखिए.
But Saral Patel, I want to quote 2 examples. I heard the entire speech of Mr. Gandhi. I heard the entire speech and he said that there is very little space for people to express. I want to draw your attention to 2-3 things that have happened in just the last 1 month. In fact, today, the Karnataka Pradesh Congress Committee issued a show cause notice to its MLA and former Mandya MP LR Shivarame Gowda only because he said that DK Shivkumar should become the next chief minister and when the 6-month rotation is over. On the 17th of August, the Congress served another show cause notice to another MLA. This time, they served it to V. Basavaraj, who is the MLA for Channagiri. Why? Because he also said that DK Shivkumar should become the next chief minister. In the middle of all this, you have also served a show cause notice to Digvijay Singh's brother because he said things that was embarrassing to the Congress party. You say there is no freedom of speech in the country, but right now that space is shrinking increasingly in your own party, no?
Padmaja ji, very interestingly, you forgot to give out the example of Vice President Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar, who was forced to resign. We have not heard a single public statement from him ever since he has resigned.
No, actually we have. I'm sorry, you're mistaken. Not only did Jagdeep Dhankar issue a statement on the Vice President being elected, he came for the Vice President swearing in as well.
To Sanju Verma, you should give enough time and respect to me also on the debate. So let us not interrupt.
But I also respect facts. I also respect facts. Yes. And just to put the record clear, not only did Jagdeep Dhankar issue a statement on the election of C.P. Radhakrishnan as the Vice President of India, but he also went for the swearing-in ceremony to which your
That was the first and only public appearance by Mr. Jagdeep Dhankar ever since his resignation. So let us come to the point that my dear friend Anand Ranganathan ji was making about Shyam Sharan report and all that. He should say and he should answer it bluntly. Is it not a fact that in 2002 it was BJP and under Mr. Vajpayee's government that BJP government recognized Tibet as the integral part of China, which defeated and betrayed the Indian policy for that we had since 2002.
Okay, Anand Ranganathan.
So this was the biggest betrayal of the Indian foreign policy that was done by the BJP government.
But on the issue of free speech, are we agreed?
Number two, Sanju Verma ji started talking about Pinaka missiles and kamikaze drones. When India got its independence, we did not even have the resources and the know-how to build even needed in India. When we vacated the power in 2014, India was the nuclear triad. Agni missiles, BrahMos missiles, these were all built by Congress governments. So Sanju Verma ji must be ashamed that for her everything has happened in last 11 years. Please open your eyes and smell coffee. Not everything has happened in last 11 years. There was an India which was strong and laid the strong foundation before 2014 also. Recognize that. Please wake up and smell the coffee.
Okay, Dr. Ranganathan, the foundational principles which the Congress had established are being endangered now by the BJP. And free speech, everyone is just as bad, says Saral Patel.
It's how ironic. First of all, मैंने 3 pointed सवाल पूछे थे अपने मित्र सरल जी से. ये तिब्बत पहुंच गए. अब मैं 2-3 और पूछूंगा तो ये टिम्बकटू ना पहुंच जाए. इसलिए I will stop asking him questions. I'll just rebut him. Point number one, when he talks about the Congress establishing the foundational principles, I hope he is not talking about the virulent trampling of free speech by Jawaharlal Nehru as the first amendment to our constitution, because of which hundreds of editors, journalists, filmmakers, book writers have been jailed, parties have been dismissed. That is your legacy, sir. Number two, he may say that you are talking of historical facts. Well, fine. Let me talk about contemporary Congress rule in Karnataka and Telangana. In Telangana, the sitting chief minister talks about two journalists. I will strip them on the street. This is the word verbatim of the sitting chief minister of Telangana. And let's not talk about Karnataka, where YouTubers have been arrested, where police is dispatched to all corners of India to arrest and trample upon free speech, where your own MLAs have been not asked to be suspended but resigned because they disputed the fact of vote chori. Let's not go about the erstwhile ruled states of Chhattisgarh, where you charged a man of sedition because he complained of power cut. Let's not talk about the erstwhile ruled state of Rajasthan, where you slapped sedition charges on your own Sachin Pilot, where you sacked an MLA who said, "हम मणिपुर में प्राइम मिनिस्टर को कोस रहे हैं, हमें अपने गिरिबान में देखना चाहिए." So let's not talk about democracy and Congress upholding the virtues of it. Now, will you please at least answer one question? Will you please at least answer one question, Saralji? Why did you accept 1600 crores through anonymous electoral bonds when Rahul Gandhi said it is the biggest scam of India?
Okay, very quickly, Saral Patel respond, then Ghanshyam Tiwari.
Padmaja ji, it is quite funny. It is the rule that was brought in by the Prime Minister himself. He should criticize that. And when that rule was built, that was the only way that a political party should accept the fund.
No,
and then BJP has all the agencies.
Not take money through anonymous electoral bonds.
Agencies at its hands. They can investigate it. It is a clear from the data that has been released
I may not like the communists.
Slapped by Supreme Court. When the data of electoral bonds were released, it became very clear that first EC and ED goes and raids the...
I don't interrupt you.
Saral Patel, with the greatest of respect, this is like saying somebody else broke the door to the safe. We also, took our helping of whatever was inside. Very quickly, 10 seconds only, please, Dr. Ranganathan, then I need to go to Ghanshyam Tiwari.
The Supreme Court has exposed electoral bond as the biggest scam of the century. Is that not a fact?
Rahul Gandhi out on bail in the National Herald.
30 seconds, Dr. Ranganathan. I'm running out of time. Yes.
Yes, if you remember, Padmaja, I started by saying that I agree with Rahul Gandhi that anonymous electoral bonds was the biggest scam of independent India, but the question is, why did he accept money through them? I may hate the communists, and I do.
The one who bought the law should be punished. I agree with you. The one who bought the law while he was heading the government, the Prime Minister should be prosecuted for that. I agree with Mr. Anand Ranganathan.
I'm short on time. 10 seconds, Dr. Ranganathan, then Ghanshyam Tiwari.
I agree with Anand Ranganathan ji. Prime Minister must be prosecuted for bringing in the law.
Sanju Verma for interrupting. And now he's interrupting me.
Yes, go on, Dr. Ranganathan.
Thank you. Yes, so please, I hope I will not be interrupted by Saralji. I was saying I may hate the communists, and I do, but I admire the fact that CPIM actually held on to its principles, did not accept any money through anonymous electoral bonds. Why couldn't Congress do it? Shameless.
Okay. Final 30 seconds that I have, I give to you, Ghanshyam Tiwari. Look, this is something that we've heard at least for the last 5 years, that there is a democratic backsliding in the country. Yet we've had election after election where this same undemocratic BJP has been voted back into power by the people. Somewhere this is not sticking in people's minds.
Three things, Padmajaji. One, that on the broader discussion of which party took how much money, the Prime Minister who came to power in 2014 marketing his poverty runs with the richest person in his pocket. Under his watch, BJP amassed 15,000 crores as donations. Point number one. Point number two, that BJP has won a few elections. Biren Singh won an election in Manipur. Prime Minister campaigned from him. What is happening in Manipur? The Prime Minister refused to go to Manipur while Manipur was burning. So for BJP to win an election is saying that somebody who can do vote chori.
But you reduced the BJP's tally in the Lok Sabha election in 2024 and you said it was the biggest celebration of Loktantra in our country.
You said 30 seconds.
You can't sit in 2025 and say that democracy is dying. When in 2024 you were gloating about how you had shown the BJP its place.
You said 30 seconds. Allow me
okay,
that.
30 seconds only. Really short time. Okay.
Yes. So even in Lok Sabha, with the Prime Minister standing up and doing hate speech, that opposition mujra kar raha hai, bhains, guy, bell, everything that he said, and the Election Commission looked the other way. In Maharashtra, they could not still find where are those ghost voters coming in that did not vote in Lok Sabha and suddenly appeared in State Assembly. So it is for viewers to judge. When you look at the nature of debates in our parliament, cameras being moved, mics being shut
10
off,
seconds.
being removed. When you look at the nature of Election Commission, when you look at the amassed wealth of BJP, 15,000 crores in these donations, you realize how the democracy is functioning.
Okay, you said only one thing, which is, I think everyone is going to agree to, that people are ultimately going to decide on the limited point of this so-called vote chori. 7th is when the Supreme Court is going to give its verdict. Then everyone is going to see what the reality of these allegations is. And on the issue of democracy being in danger or dying, I think it is very relative to where you're standing, in the opposition or in government. I'm out of time. Thanks, gentlemen. Sanju Verma for joining me. Well, of course, as is quite apparent from what Rahul Gandhi has said, that there will be this constant discourse about how India's democracy is in danger, and one of the organizations responsible for it is the so-called shadowy RSS. That has been the narrative, will remain the narrative for some time. But what really does one make of the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh at a juncture like this, at a point of time like this? Joining us is Dr. David Frawley. Thanks very much, sir, for speaking to us. And straight up, I want to ask you, what is the relevance of the RSS to India in the year 2025 as we are ready to step into the next year?
Well, the relevance of the RSS is very central and important because it provides a broad, traditional, but yet futuristic view of Bharat. It is working all over the country at a service and educational level. It is a form of karma yoga, we might say. It is not just simply a political party and certainly not a business. And it is always supporting peace and well-being for all. And of course, it is close to BJP and to Narendra Modi. And we still have the shadow of the Congress Party and its anti-RSS policies. I would say that the Congress Party is what I would call the brand dynasty, whereas BJP and connected with RSS is the brand Bharat. So Bharat is rising. So these old dynastic factors are, of course, upset, but they're not offering anything at all, not a vision of the future, and not an awakening of the inspiration that comes out of this wonderful civilization of India that has been brought out by RSS, BJP, and many other groups that are active today, expanding, growing, and inspired.
You have always spoken of, and you just said that the RSS is traditional yet futuristic. A lot of its critics don't look at it that way. They say that it's in fact regressive, it is shadowy, it is suspicious, it is anti-women, it is anti-backward. What do you make of these familiar allegations?
They are basically propaganda. You create negative names and allegations about a group. That's one way of kind of calling them into question, but it is not true. They have a very large and significant women's group. They are involved with technology, science, of course, the Vedic sciences as well. And they have international connections and have been open to groups and communication at many different levels. And they have faced a lot of this negative propaganda. It was much worse during the era in which leftists and Marxists controlled the discourse in India. Still, that shadow of it is there. But look at them in their own right as to what they do, how they help, and all their activity. India needs such service organizations. It has had enough of these self-promoting dynastic groups and their coteries and special benefits they give to their friends and families. That whole karma yoga and seva attitude definitely has its place, and RSS has supported that to a great extent.
In what manner do you see the RSS as futuristic?
Well, very simply, on many levels, RSS is supporting the yoga, the Ayurveda, the global expansion of the Indian civilization, global communication. It's in contact with many educational and spiritual groups. It has a vision not only of the awakening of Bharat in the sense of a great cultural, spiritual, and economic power, but as connected to the rest of the world, and you might say a guiding vision. There's, of course, the idea of India as Vishwaguru, but the deeper meaning is that India is carrying on the great yogic traditions that inspired the independence movement and that are very helpful for the world as a whole today, because we need the higher consciousness, not just more technology. The technology has its place, but we need to restore our higher aspirations to going beyond simply the outer and having a greater connection with the whole of life, universe, unity with all humanity.
Dr. Frawley, you've spoken again and again of the RSS being a force for India's dharmic civilization. How does India and the government and the RSS as well marry the two, being a dharmic civilization and yet projecting itself as a superpower which is on its way to becoming India, the world's third largest economy?
Well, Dharma always implies a greater understanding of what is going on and a greater vision of the future and a greater vision of the world. It is not a religious dogma. It is subject to adaptation. And India is a civilization. It's not just coming into power as a recently formed nation state with economic or political interests from recent decades. It is reflecting this very ancient but futuristic tradition that looks to a higher consciousness, a universal awareness, and the oneness of all life and the oneness of all living beings.
Dr. Frawley, when you look at people in India and you see this constant critique of the very things that you have spoken of right now, a higher being, etc., being projected as things that belong to the last century, even as the rest of the world is adapting it, yoga, meditation. Why do you think that is? Why does this mindset still exist in India? Is it just a case of indoctrination down the years? What explains this?
Part of it is just the shadow of the colonial era and the Nehruvian era. In the Nehruvian era, they basically allowed the colonial forces, the leftists, the Marxists to create the idea and the vision of what they thought India was supposed to be and impose it on the rest of the world. And as you can see with Rahul Gandhi, he's already supporting, he has for a long time, supported the enemies of India and been more in their camp seeking how to dismantle India rising and go back to the old Nehruvian era that actually went nowhere.
Do you really think that that would be the intention of Rahul Gandhi? Fair. There were very different ideas of India in the Nehruvian era with Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru himself, the Congress Party and the BJP and the RSS. But do you really believe that there is an active attempt to try and sabotage India? Why would anyone do that? Why would Rahul Gandhi do that or want it?
Well, it's very simple. They want to restore the dynasty, which had power all over the country, economically, in the media, in the newspapers, and in the different branches of government. It was a borderline dictatorship, and they tried to make it into a dictatorship at a certain point. So losing power was very difficult for them. And there were also various local state rulers that followed these, like Lalu Prasad Yadav, that followed a similar model of control. So naturally, they don't want to lose their power. They'd like to bring it back. They can find certain outside sources and funding for that, because some countries are not going to want India to rise, because it's also a civilizational challenge, not just simply an economic challenge. And it's also a shift of power to different regions of the world and new alliances going on. So of course, it's a new churning, and there will be a lot of considerations, but at the same time, obviously, India is rising, and India can arise as Bharat. It cannot arise as an old socialist dynasty.
Speaking of churn, in the recent past, I think in just the last few months, the Prime Minister has spoken at length and in glowing terms about the RSS again and again. In fact, just yesterday, he said that there has been an attempt to try and keep the RSS away from the mainstream, and this was done almost like a project. Do you think that now there is a more concerted effort to try and get the RSS to connect more with the people? So far, it has been seen as an organization that pretty much keeps to itself, but now that barrier is being broken. And is it possible to do that?
Well, RSS has long been connected to the people and to the masses and to various groups, organizations, education, etc. I happened to come to India and learn about the RSS from years ago, back in the 80s, with some of the teachers I had there in the Vedic sciences. I learned about RSS before I learned about the propaganda against us. Very gentle, very considerate, very articulate people, and very broad-based interest. So there is that shadow from the past that is also supported by groups overseas that don't want India to rise, and they like the old India that they could manipulate and control with their politics and propaganda. So yes, now you see the media has changed somewhat in India. We also see that, of course, the government has changed. And so obviously RSS deserves a new and direct look apart from the old propaganda. And it's great that India has some organizations like this that have international influences, because all the countries do. They may have different names for them. China has them all over the place. And I'm not saying RSS is a government organization. No, it's not that at all. It is an educational and a cultural organization. And spreading Indian culture is, of course, a very important factor. And Indian view of the future, all that is part of India rising. And I think that that is going to go on. And we should let that view come out. Certainly it can be criticized at certain levels, depending upon what different people's views are. There has to be a new churning. But the awakening of RSS has definitely been very important in the arising of India from an economic to a cultural to a scientific level.
You said that you first got to know about the RSS in the 80s. From then to now, have you seen the gaze of the West about the RSS change? Is there any perceptible change in the way the RSS is seen in the West?
Well, first of all, there's a very definite way that India has changed in the perceptual view of the West. And RSS is seen as something part of the Indian tradition and as representing Indian traditions. Yes, it has changed, and there are many groups throughout the world, whether in yoga, Ayurveda, science, technology, where RSS is known and where there is communication between the different groups that are seeking to raise India. So it has definitely changed. There is still the shadow and some leftist controlled publications, and of course, anti-India influences, which of course are there. None of the other countries don't want India to rise and not rise so quickly because they had their own vested interest and power. But Narendra Modi has been such a brilliant diplomat. He has made so many friends, brought India's connection to so many countries, whether Europe, South America, Africa, and of course RSS is part of that vision, and it's great to see this new appreciation of India rising.
No, because you mentioned South America. It is in South America that Rahul Gandhi has again spoken of the RSS and the BJP as being one and having a toxic ideology. If there was one change specifically you've seen in the way that the Sangh has been perceived in the past and now in all of these Western countries, what would that be?
Well, it's because the Sangh represents this broader view of Indian culture, civilization, Vedic sciences, and also communication. And this, you see, the world is looking for a greater vision than just all the old materialism and politics. And so a certain group of India they can work with and communicate with. And it's interesting to note that Rahul Gandhi says that everywhere he goes. In fact, he's not a representative for India when he travels. He's a representative against India. And remember, the only call to power he has is he belongs to a dynasty. He hasn't done anything else. He doesn't say anything, have a positive vision of India. He wants to go to the past. So we don't need to be surprised about that. Some people will join that. But at the same time, India is rising, and along with that, RSS is part of that and has been instrumental in it, not necessarily way out in the front making a lot of noise, but in communicating and connecting with people all over the world.
Dr. Frawley, in its 100th year, do you also, if you were to view critically the journey of the RSS, do you think the organization also has had to reinvent itself? The fact that we had the Sar Sanchalak a few years ago distanced the organization from a bunch of thoughts, for example, when he said that there are certain books which are relevant only in the period they existed. Now, just a few months ago, when he spoke in Delhi, he said that maybe in place of Manu Smriti, we need other kinds of Smriti which speak about the entire Hindu civilization, the entire Indian civilization. Has it reinvented itself, and has that worked? Or it's still a project which is in the works?
Well, first of all, Manu Smriti is a book of several thousand years ago. It's not really imposed or made dominant in any Hindu groups. In the independence movement, we had all these great gurus, whether from Aurobindo. Look at what Aurobindo says. Aurobindo was never in favor of what Congress had done. He also wanted to raise India's civilizations, teachings, economy, military, and so forth. So RSS is part of that broader stream of thought that was behind the Indian independence movement. And it's also looking to an expansion of communication in the future. And any diplomat knows that if you represent a country, even if you are in the opposition, you do not travel and support the opposition. Can you name another political leader in the world who is doing that and who has been doing that? And you can see every country has an opposition as well. So let's put things into perspective, and let's be happy that India is rising. Look at how much better it's done under Narendra Modi than it did under the dynasty. And that certainly involves connecting to a futuristic vision, connecting to the technology, developing the economy. Look what it's done for your infrastructure. Definitely, no one wants to go back to the way it was except the people who had power then and were ruining the country along the way.
Well, the beauty of India's democracy is that both of these thoughts still are allowed to be expressed and they can coexist. Dr. David Frawley, thanks very much as always for speaking to us here on NDTV 24/7. Well, for decades now, there has been one version about the RSS that has been propagated, that has been perpetuated for whatever reasons, whether they are cultural or otherwise. The good thing now, though, is that there is a counter-narrative that also exists, whether this has been done organically or it has been done consciously by the Sangh, by the BJP. It's happening. The best thing, as always, is to listen to all sides and eventually make up your own mind. Time now for a very quick break. We'll be back on the other side with more news. Don't go anywhere.
The world's defining stage. Leaders, visionaries, decision makers, confronting the challenges of our time.
हमारा प्रयास होगा भारत की सेंचुरी सिर्फ भारत की नहीं बल्कि पूरी मानवता की जीत की सेंचुरी बने।
NDTV World Summit 2025, Edge of the Unknown, 17th to 18th October, only on NDTV.
सल्यूट है जी। आप देश की रक्षा में जान लगा देते हैं
और आप
घर घर में तार लगाते हैं जी। ई बीम टेक्नोलॉजी से बनी, न जले न पिघले, सबकी रक्षा करे।
हम सरहद पर लोगों की रक्षा करते हैं और आप देश के अंदर। सैल्यूट तो बनता है जी।
अपार अणुशक्ति फायर प्रोटेक्ट वायर, अपार देश का तार।
Across the country.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. And now, Aditya Raj Kaul begins a new chapter at NDTV.
Actually, I'm taking off because the stories I cover don't sit still. To bring the world to India and to take India to the world, I need to be where action is.
Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
The markets move fast.
And so should your portfolio. Expert in
Welcome back, and good news. After a gap of nearly 5 years, India and China, the flights between the two countries can start as early